Oh, I am so glad I ran into you down here. I heard you used to work in a ski shop and might be able to help me plan as far as getting my son outfitted for skiing this year.
Well, yes, I worked in ski shops all through college and a few years after.
Yes, I heard that you had a lot of expertise. Anyway, my son is an expert skier. He goes to Bolton nearly every weekend. He races NASCAR too. He's just a born athlete.
Well, it sounds like he needs a pair of racing skis then, but they must be the right size and stiffness for his weight and skiing ability. How old is he and what does he weigh?
Well, he's 17, but I don't know what he weighs. We don't have a scale and he's a kid, you know their weight can change weekly. Why, is that important?
Yes, it is probably the most critical factor in choosing skis to provide for both his safety and enjoyment of the sport. Well, that and his skiing ability or skier type.
Well, as I said, he is very good.
Yes, I believe we have established that.
His dad says he skis the Black Diamond trails all day and likes to jump. As far as weight goes, I guess we'll have to weigh him at the ski shop.
Skier type is not about how good you are but depends on your style of skiing. Some people ski fast and are very skilled but also smoothly and on gentle terrain so their bindings can be set to release fairly easily. Others are poor skiers technically but stay on steep terrain all day and take lots of chances. They require higher settings. For your information, most ski shops don't have scales because they are obviously a huge liability risk. And although the first shop I worked at did have a scale, hundreds of kids who came and would jump on it as hard as they could trying to get the needle jammed at the top. A correct weight is critical to setting the release point and for safety of your kids. Why would you trust an unknown abused scale to obtain such a crucial number?
Well, as I said, don't have a scale at home. You know, my husband is a lawyer, and when we went through this weight hassle last year when we leased skis, he said there's no reason a release couldn't be added to a ski shop's forms regarding the accuracy of using their scale. And if they don't have one, can they call his doctor?
Listen, these aren't rocket science questions. It's not like, what is the atomic number of boron? Or, who played the professor on Gilligan's Island? Or even, who was Walter Mondale's running mate in 1984? If you took your car to a mechanic and they asked, what is the make and model of your car? You wouldn't say, I don't know. Can't you go out and look at the registration? Since you've known since at least last year that his weight would be an important issue, and you know it changes rapidly, why didn't you just buy a scale? Or you could weigh him on your Wii.
I suppose we could use the Wii to weigh him. I had no idea this would be such a hassle. Anywho. He also told me he has to have twin-tip skis? Center-mounted, whatever that means. He said that was the most important part. And he emphasized he needs a release setting of at least 11 on the bindings. I also wanted to make sure they will always come off before he is injured.
You know, by the end of my time in ski shops, I developed a theory that a sizable minority of parents are unconsciously trying to kill their children. Now, unless he is the Incredible Hulk, a binding setting of 11 would be enough to snap his femur like a dry twig. But he's a teenage boy and might be forgiven for his machismo. You on the other hand want to set his bindings to save his leg at any cost, even if it means his skis come off on a landing and his head hits a tree. It is much harder to fix a broken head than a broken leg. And furthermore, a pair of twin-tipped center-mounted skis is for trick skiing in terrain parks. It would be hard to control in fast rail skiing and impossible to race on. So it seems you will need 2 pairs of skis.
Oh no, we could never afford that. We've already spent over $1,000 on his ski clothing. Oh, and we got him a top-of-the-line Subaru for getting to the mountain. As far as his binding settings, I guess we'll have to go with an intermediate level setting because I do want to make sure he is safe. Oh, and anyway, he leased twin-tip skis last year and raced fine on them.
So, you buy him a car for 30 grand to protect him on the road but are comfortable with the idea of him moving at car-like speeds down a steep mountain on wobbly, chattering unstable skis close to big trees and jagged rocks but with no metal around him. And you'd prefer to use a cheap battered public scale to determine when the ejector seat will fire. And your ideas about skis are like a person at a dealer asking for a car that can go 180 on the highway and also go four-wheeling on logging roads. One of those things will be extremely dangerous no matter what vehicle you choose. But the most amazing part is, trained, highly skilled binding engineers have worked for years designing formulas for the best release points, yet both you and your son have firm and completely opposite plans of your own for how they should be set based on what? Whimsy? It's like your rental car rides a little soft, so you pump the tires up to 100 pounds because Hunter S. Thompson did in Fear and Loathing.
Wow, I don't know why you're so upset. Skiing is all about having fun. We don't like to be too serious about it.
I don't think I should talk to you anymore. I'm too terrified of having anything to do with your son's inevitable injuries. And besides, I am missing my favorite Diners, Drive-Ins and Dives episode.